and welcome to the CuzNCiseal Show Ep.3. Apparently, the podcast gods don't ever want me to do one take of my episodes. They're like, nah, playa. You, sir, we want you perfect. We want you comfortable by even episode 3 of a goddamn podcast. We want you to feel normal behind that microphone. So, we're going to give you trials and tribulation every fucking week. I just got out of this garage. It's Africa hot in this garage. And I'm back for you to re-record my episode 3 of the CuzNCiseal Show. I am your host, Mike Fowler, a.k.a. CuzNCiseal, where I'm going to come at you hard and fast like Xbox Shade to PlayStation for using a new controller. I don't want to use a DualShock 4, you bastard! I'm not some PlayStation shill because I want a DualSense. It's a new generation, you son of a bitch. As sounds from the peanut galleries. Yeah, there wasn't that much stories from PlayStation, right, guys, this week? Just kidding. No, this week we're going to get into what I've been playing like usual. And then we're going to also talk about some PlayStation news from the State of Play. And I would like to also address that this console war is possibly the most toxic of the console wars I have seen of my growing up. But I do like to get into what I've been doing this week. How was your week? I hope your partner, your wife, your girlfriend, your side gave you some fresh wop this week. God bless them. God bless Cardi. God bless Megan Thee Stallion. Woo-wee! No matter what, I don't know why. Maybe it's because of the video, but the song is a little catchy. I don't know, it's because Megan's rocking it. Cardi's just being her. God bless. Thank God the clubs are closed. We'd have a second wave of COVID right now. But anyway, I want to get into... I did get to watch some movies this week. First off, I actually got to watch An American Pickle, which is that Seth Rogen new HBO Max movie where he plays a Jewish man from back in like 1920-ish. And then he falls into a pickle brine and gets sealed up, and he wakes up 100 years in the future. And then he gets to meet his great-grandson, and that's where all the hijinks start. It's actually really well done. It's not what would I call a typical Seth Rogen, like Neighbors or This Is the End. In the humor, like it's not that over the top. It's more Judd Apatow style, like it's a heartwarming humor. And I think it's funny that I'm going to say because Seth Rogen's in it, but it's like that knocked up humor. Like, because it's obviously about the great-grandson and the grandpa bonding. So, but I would definitely check it out if you have HBO Max. And another show that's on HBO Max that I got to finish was Doom Patrol Season 2. And damn, COVID made this season short, made it only 9 episodes. And it was going so well the first couple episodes. And then I did start noticing around episode 5, it felt like they were like stretching a small deal so that they can do a quick wrap up for a later episode. And it turned out episode 9 was the ending because of obviously COVID-19 is wrecking the world, and it upsets me. And I hope that maybe with some news from the DC fandom this 22nd, maybe they'll at least confirm that yes, they're going to come back and at least finish episode maybe 10, because episode 9 ends on such a cliffhanger that it's almost annoying how close of a cliffhanger they did it for. Like literally the professor's screaming a name and goes into credits. I'm like, oh my God. Everyone's in peril. Who's the fake Miranda? You know, where's Dorothy at the end? Actually today, this afternoon, I turned on this show on Netflix called Love on the Spectrum, which is obviously about people on the autistic spectrum dating, and it's actually pretty, like, I guess for a word, captivating. I actually, I only did 2 episodes just at the moment, but each episode, I only watched 2. They're 44 minutes long, and I teared up in both of them only because of my oldest daughter. She is cognitive impaired, and so it kind of put her onto that spectrum, and it just flares up my feelings about future wise, and makes me hope I am one of those parents that are on that show and be a good parent, because some days you get those feelings like, are you a good or bad dad? And I hope I can be a good dad for her and everyone. But I'm probably going to actually continue that season. There's only 5 episodes. I actually like the one gentleman. His name's Michael, and I actually like his story. He seems pretty he's like in the mid to low range on the spectrum. So he's pretty coherent in the sense of, like, he sees all positive of the sense of his, disability. It's really heartwarming. It's really good to see. But yeah, enough of the watching. What did I play this week? And I finished the main the main quests for Ghost of Tsushima, and I'm just cleaning up all the fox dens, the territories. I got 2/3 of the territories cleaned up, so I just have to go touch question marks and get fox dens and the rest of the Shinto shrines. At the end of the day, it is a great game, but it did stay in my second place of the game of the year. And I think it's only because, if you can hear me out about this, by the end of the chat, right before the end of the chapters of even with the fox dens, people like how overflowing of unknown locations and like looking for those fox dens. The end quest I saw on my little thing, because this is the first time I actually started looking at, like, okay, how many more do I have to do? I was like at 37 fox dens found, and I'm like, 37? That sounds a lot. That should be pretty close to the end. Nope. Apparently they have like 57 fox dens, so I'm like, fuck! I want to get off this island. I know I sound a little down right there, but it's just my platinum problem of it. But it's still an easy platinum, and I'm still going to do it because I don't mind searching the island. It is a great island, but yeah, that's my 2 cents on it. The real game that caught my eye this week was the PlayStation Plus game Fall Guys. And Fall Guys is probably it. I don't know. I think there are, like, no matter all this anti-consumer shit going on in PlayStation, somebody's on the Fall Guys side. It's probably just Devolver. I'll give them that. But Fall Guys fell in the right place, right time. It's a great summer battle royale where it's just vibrant colors. It's just a party through the whole thing. And just the idea of, like, it's a 60-player battle royale that is the TV show Wipeout, and I love Wipeout. And I have 2 wins. I've got 2 crowns, kind of. One crown was official, and the other one is right now. This indie game is having some real network issues because they were smart to put it on PlayStation Plus. Their Twitter's like, we want to be like the new Rocket League in the sense of we're gonna go on like a free a free game service and get enough people that want to play it and just get those hooks in like Rocket League did. Because when Rocket League came out, it was a PlayStation Plus game first before anything, and it was a great way of getting the community in and actually growing. And Fall Guys is probably up there too. It's been doing it has a really good cute shop because you got a little jelly bean, and right now my jelly bean is he's got racing flames, And I wish I had 5 crowns. God damn, they had a Hotline Miami chicken in a Letterman's jacket costume. Oh my God. The biggest enemy of Fall Guys is their net code or something. They had this last week, Friday morning, they were offline for almost half the day. Like it was nighttime Eastern Standard Time before I knew that people were able to jump on and play games. And it's only an online only game. Besides netcode is an awesome game. It'll get you hooked. Get you so mad. It has that perfect one more game itch of these battle royales. Because this battle royales game is simple. It's 5 rounds usually, maybe 4. It's not violent in the sense of guns, but it's just jump in or sometimes teamwork. It's a very addicting game. I would, if anybody has PlayStation or PC, because Steam has it too, I would pick it up, or at least make sure you hit that download button this month and give it a try. It's really good for your time. And then also, just before we jump out, I am dipping my toe in. I picked up Bloodstained Curse of the Moon 2. I'm not going to get that far into this week because obviously I just started. I did the first, technically 3 levels, so I have all 4 characters you get to play as through this, just like in Curse of the Moon 1. Curse of the Moon 1, there's 4 different characters. One's like a old man wizard, but I wish I remember the gentleman's name, but the main character who's red, he's in this one still. And then you get a new girl who is blue, and she has like the highest jump of the team. She actually gets to also do a down attack like in air. And then you also then get a sharpshooter, and he gets to wall climb and prone. And he doesn't have that good of a jump, but they'd have pros and negatives that feel good. Like the last guy is a dog who's in a mech suit, so he's kind of like a juggernaut, and it seems real fun. It still has that Curse of the Moon 1 / Castlevania 3 art style. And like I said, didn't play the first one, but this one does have some great 8-bit soundtrack sounds. I'm still digging. But I will get into that more next week. But yeah, I'm playing that Bloodstained Curse of the Moon 2. But you know what also I am debating on? Kind of running a Twitch stream as well as doing this podcast. Maybe I'm thinking about like Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursdays streaming. I haven't chose like times or anything, but I just know that like Sunday and Tuesdays I want to play like that new hotness, maybe recap that new hotness of the week on Sundays. But then on Thursdays I like to do like a throwback, aka my backlog. But I'm dipping my toes. I'm really trying to see how it goes. Twitch, because obviously all I have is the PS4 with the camera, but most likely I'd probably have no camera, just let you enjoy my gameplay. Hopefully anybody will come down to CuzNCiseal on Twitch. Say hello. Say I got some WAP for you. Whatever. But yeah, I kind of want to I'm going to jump into some news. A little bit more the toxicity and some more lower end stories before we jump into the big meat of state of play. But yeah, this past week, Sony put a little letter out showing some of the do's and do nots of older peripherals with the PlayStation 5. And on paper, funny, but it's pretty typical. It's probably something that if you would have not seen this piece of paper, you would have assumed. Like, all right, the the PS5 can play PS4 games, and you'll be able to use your DualShock 4 on your PS4 games. Your DualShock 4 does not work on PS5 games. Okay. Your camera from the PS4 will work, but I'm also going to probably pick up the newest HD camera for the PS5 because they have new features in the camera, and like it sounds dumb, but that camera can also make a green screen of your background for you in the camera. So I like that idea, and also any new camera might help the PSVR. Can't hurt. But then this letter, and then also Marvel's Avengers from Crystal Dynamics is coming out very soon. And right now we're in the beta weeks of the game. So people are getting beta access. But there's been some news with a character that's going to be added on. A little web slinger named Spider-Man. And Sony came out with like a little advertisement plug, says, hey, only on PlayStation you'll be able to play Spider-Man in Marvel's Avengers. This, in the peripheral note, just opened the floodgates for Xbox fanboys to just come. And I think also, when I just say just fanboys, it gave these big news stations to try to do these really bad articles. And when I say bad, is because of the oppression of the article. So you could be a good person who does the news for gaming, but if you're going to use a headline saying, yeah, PlayStation is anti-consumer, over the simple fact of like every generation before now, we've always got a new controller, and just that's been the rules of generations. And then you have Xbox throwing out these fast comments saying, yeah, just so you know, with Project xCloud, you'll be able to use your DualShock 4 with Project xCloud, just not your Apple iPad. Aw. The thing is, I just don't like how lately it feels like I said, websites, gaming influencers, people who say they're in the neutral, but at the same time, when the pan's hot, they're jumping onto these ideas. Like, I think it's odd, like, even Kind of Funnies, P.S. I Love You, went intentionally and made had one of their episodes title is PlayStation Anti-Consumer with a question mark, which then obviously gives you a deep dive in part of their episode. I didn't even listen to it because I don't want, with this podcasting, I don't want to get that much influences from other creators. But the thing is, like, the American media is so fucked. We have, headlines. What people read headlines more than stories. So when you have headlines that are very directional into the idea of like, yeah, PlayStation is anti-consumer. Is it because you can't use an old fucking controller? Or then as you go into the article, they might defend it or change, actually do work on the news for it. It just doesn't help. And then obviously, if you've noticed, almost probably 7 different IGN editors or directors like throw these polls out on Twitter just to keep the fuel going. Like, hey, which console you guys gonna get? And they went into like, this is the first one I felt like people are trying to use like non-gaming of like the games as a tool to try to persuade you. Because before this week, there was a whole plethora of influencers just going, hey guys, have you guys heard about this new thing like called what is it? Oh, Xbox Game Pass. And people like started appraising it, which we've heard for months and even a year by now. We know Xbox Game Pass is good. I just can't stand how people are taking the chance to keep pushing, because right now I do my choosing in a couple ways. I choose a console that speaks to me, and right now it's PlayStation. And the only reason is not because of controllers, not because of even not even like political, I don't want to use political, but political views of the system or like everything that's non-gaming. Just the games speak to me. And I'll give you this for Console Wars. This is the first generation that has 2 big consoles with 2 different outlooks of how to sell a system. And PlayStation is going, would be the old way. So it sounds dumb how I'm going to say it to make it more political, but it's like literally like a conservative way of looking into game selling, system selling, where Xbox is a new alternative idea. And frankly, for me, it doesn't sell it to me. It goes into an idea of like, you're not selling me the system. You might have some good games, but how you make it described to me, I don't need your big system. I can stream it off something. You can play these games that are on a phone, which is a cool idea. But at the end of the day, gamers are fickle, so gamers are going to act old, so they want a box with a disk drive, most likely, or even nowadays with a big hard drive, and I want my games on the system, and that's how I'm going to do it. So right now, they're like PlayStation's old ways, quote unquote, speak to me. And I just really do dislike how people have been flip-flopping so much without speaking directly on like how the games are changing your views on the system. Because at the end of the day, they're all going to probably almost do the same thing. Besides, they're probably a little bit more casting with Xbox onto different, like, I'm not saying this, but like if you can cast your game from the cloud to that, most likely they're probably going to run some cloud strategies a little bit more. PlayStation obviously has the SSD, and they've been doing what I feel is not anti-consumer. It is a pro-consumer for your demographic of PlayStation users. They go out. They're getting third-party exclusives, like old-style ways. They are new IPs, because that's another thing that Xbox brought up. They're like, oh, you guys yelled at us for when we did Tomb Raider. I think Tomb Raider, only baggage was it was a sequel to a game that was already on all platforms. So, and then they speak in that way of like only on Xbox, exclusive. And how they speak backfires on them too. Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo are brand new IP. So, is it a drawback for consumers in the sense of that? For consoles, I'll give you that, but also at the same time, you have no backlog of history of these game titles to go like, oh, I remember playing on my Xbox, blank, blah, blah, blah. You might, for Deathloop is Arcane, so you can say, oh, you've thought of Dishonored, Xbox. But no, it's a new IP, and just like Game Pass does, we're going to get an exclusive release, and you'll get it later. No one gives a shit when Game Pass takes a nice indie game and puts it on Game Pass before it even gets released on PSN. Like, I always use this idea, but it's the only one I can think of offhand. But like Void Bastards was on Game Pass first, and then like, I want to say it was on Game Pass maybe like last year, November, October, and it didn't come to PlayStation before until like maybe December, January. So PlayStation got to miss out on the whole, I use Giant Bomb. So, but Giant Bomb's little talk of Game of the Year stuff for Void Bastards, because we didn't even get to play it yet. And then the only other thing is also Ghostwire and Deathloop are coming to PC the same day and date with PlayStation. So there is another option out there. Because I also think it's funny, the only people that cry about it are ones that have both systems. So just button up, play it on the system that has it first if you cannot wait. And then I'm also going to jump some things around. Like, I just think it's odd to use the word anti-consumer. Because what is anti-consumer to you? For, let's say, phones. Do you say Apple's anti-consumer because they made Apple Arcade to have exclusive games for your Apple phone that's not on Android? No one says a word like that. Do you call, well, none of you call Microsoft anti-consumer because you can use a old Xbox One for your Xbox Series X, but no one said it. Like, why has this come up now when I've never heard anybody complain that I can't use a 360 controller on an Xbox One? So now this is a point of debate now. It's just odd. And then there's also the idea of Nintendo. Hear me out. I'm going to give them congratulations that they have probably the best loyal fans out there. But their fans out there are also kind of brainwashed in the sense of, okay, hear me out what I'm going to say. Congrats on them. They got 22.4 million copies sold of Animal Crossing. That's more than any PlayStation first-party exclusive combined. Congrats. You deserve it. If you do, they that's what they do. They put their money in their first parties, blah, blah, blah. Mario Kart 8, with them being bundled with systems, helps, but 26.7 million copies sold. Microsoft would kill their mother. So would PlayStation would push their father off the roof for that kind of loyalty and sales in a game. Smash Brothers 19 million. I just wanted to put it out there before I say anything. Is anti-consumer an idea that you are expected never to buy a game on sale like Nintendo does with their first party? Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey are 3 years old, and they're still basically $60 to pick up in 2020. And I'm not saying like that, but obviously I bought a Switch this year, and I was really hoping to try the games. There's no first party sales because I'm not made of money. Nobody is. Even in COVID times or not. Like, I'm not going to, like, whoever's going to get my $60, it's probably going to be PlayStation, because there's a good chance I can get a good deal in sale prices on things and I get a little bit more for my money. So I just think it's odd that PlayStation anti-consumer over controller, and doing what they want is to benefit their customers, just like Xbox does with Game Pass. But I do think there's some fairness that you can do is, if you're an Xbox fan, I would look at Microsoft and go like this: why aren't you doing these sales, these moves like PlayStation? Like, why don't you get us an exclusive character or a game more than Game Pass? Because I'll give you that, they are working on games, but everyone thinks it's okay compared to PlayStation, so it's bullshit. But anyway, that's my soapbox. I'm coming off of it. Now, on to the real meat of the show. I like to talk about the PlayStation State of Play, where, thank God, they talked us off that cliff. They said, listen, it's only going to be like 40 minutes. It's just about games, nothing about PlayStation 5 systems or release dates or nothing. Please keep your expectations down. Keep it low. And I hope you enjoy. And they start off right off the bat with Crash 4. And it looking pretty good. They were showing some wall running feats. And they did some info dropping. They reimagined Insane Beach. So we'll get to go on Insane Beach, which is from the original Crash. Any level with Crash Bandicoot, you can play as Coco. There's also more playable characters, like Cortex has levels, and they just announced Dingo Dial, the old enemy from, I think, 2, has levels because he became good. There's new masks. They told us 3 of them, and there's a 4th mask that's new that they said they'll talk at a later date. And some bigger highlights, they said there's no loot boxes, no microtransactions, but there's a bunch of costumes we can earn during the game. While playing the game, you also can play this game in inverted mode, and this is a idea that, you can play at one level, and you can go back to it later, and it might be an alternate reality version of that game, of that level. Like, one of them could be, like, paint the world back and find the direction, to go through the level. One of them could be, this level used to be in the sky, now it's underwater. So it changes like the abilities of jumping and stuff. So that's pretty cool. They also at least said it's on October 2nd. It's going to come out pretty close to next gen, but no confirmed dates for next gen. So looking into it, I like what Crash 4 is bringing. Then next they showed Hitman 3, and they showed a small trailer that was a little red herring. If you see Agent 47 walk into a club, and next you know, boom, you're in PlayStation VR. That's right. Hitman 3 is going to be in PlayStation VR, the whole game. And they also announced that the whole Assassination trilogy is in VR. So that's nuts. And one little quick thing, I'm not going to put it as like story, but if you watch the trailer, when you first become Agent 47, unless they're doing it for kicks and grins, he is moving his fingers like he's holding would be like those PC ones, like the Vive controllers. I wonder if the PlayStation 5 is going to get a better peripheral for hands, that maybe you can do multi-fingered placement, just like a Vive controller. Looking into, I hope that is true, but we'll see. But still coming out next year, around I think January or something. And then next they had a little bit of long reveal, but it was Braid Anniversary Edition coming out in 2021, and just basically It's the classic indie game Braid, but they said they were repainting it from the ground up, and they showed like a side by side. It looks really good. It looks really nice and seamless motion. Like it really goes into like the more frames. It looks really nice, but really nothing much to say about it. Next up, they had the game The Pathless, which is from Giant Squid Studios. Giant Squid Studios is the makers of like Abzu, very very vibe and lo-fi feeling gameplay. Obviously, it's I think one of the creators of Giant Squid was the guy who made Journey, so that's how it goes. Pathless looks pretty good. It's a open world game that has like puzzle features because it's like you're a hunter that shoots bows, and like it looks like in the trailer you're hitting these certain boxes in the world to unlock puzzles to keep going into the world. And they show like a boss battle, and the boss battle kind of looked like a dance where like there's some parts when you're sneaking up to it and you gotta stay away from his eyes, and then there's parts when the boss is running and you have to shoot him in the legs to slow him down, and it looks like a dance. You're like jumping and looking so gliding through the world. It's very pretty, but at the same time it does look like it could be a PS4 game, and it is coming out this holiday, so it might be both systems, but it just says right now PS5. Next is probably the top indie game I'm excited for after realizing it's coming out this soon. On September 15th, Spelunky 2 comes out, and they had a new trailer that shows that there's going to be online multiplayer, and there's going to be a community in the sense of like you doing plays, and the farther you go, you're actually helping like your little town you're making in the game. There's also going to be new shopkeeper updates. There's new characters to play as, and some characters might be helpful, some characters might hurt you, and they make it sound awesome because like they said there's mysteries that even the creator doesn't know about. Like they had people working on it. September 15th, look out. Might be this game of the year. Who knows? Because people love Spelunky. I do. Next up was this Japanese RPG called Genshin Impact. It looked like a open world. I don't even know, but it looked like anime nonsense, like vomit. It looked great. I don't know. I know it sounded like I said it bad, but like if you go check it out, Genshin Impact, GENSHIN Impact. It's like a 4-player action RPG, so kind of like a Kingdom Hearts battle style. It had like giant wolves you had to fight. It had like an open world feel. Kind of looked like a weeb Breath of the Wild. I'm looking forward into that. It comes out this autumn, it said. No real release date, but it looked great, and it walked us into this new game called Eon Must Die. Comes out in 2021, maybe, because let me unpack first. It's going to be on all current gens, new and old gens, even Switch. It's a beat 'em up, but the silver lining is the trailer that we watched was apparently outsourced made because this week the devs quit the studio this week due to crunch and lack of payments. And the trailer was outsourced to artists without contracts, so scabs. So if you check out Aeon Must Die trailer, don't hold your breath. It might be in limbo. Who knows? Then real quick fire, there was also a little snippet for Anno Mutanium. Sorry for probably hacking that name, but it literally was a quick trailer that highlighted PS4 and PS4 Pro, and it's coming out this December 2020. Then it jumped into Bug Snacks this holiday, of course, and then showed a little bit of gameplay in the sense that it showed that it's first person, and it did a little bit of a story trailer, like you're going to be a news reporter, that your boss said you're fired if you go to the Bug Snacks Island, but at the same time, if you get information, you might get to keep your job. So it does show the humor. I'm looking forward to that. I love Bug Snacks already. I love the song. I love everything about it. Then next up, they did a PSVR game that comes out August 25th, a little game called Vader Immortal, a Star Wars PlayStation VR game coming out very soon. It looked good. I mean, of course, it's just I think Vader Immortal is a old not when I say old, but a PC VR game that's coming down to the PSVR. And obviously it looks good. Obviously, who doesn't like the idea of virtual reality lightsabers? Next up, they did a little quick trailer for Control's Expansion 2 DLC. Comes out August 27th. And I'm trying to figure out how... Am I not a gamer because I do not know Alan Wake's eyes and eyebrows? Because people were freaking because they showed eyes and eyebrows. I'm like, oh, Alan Wake. I'm like, that's him? I didn't know. August 27th, you don't have to wait for that. Obviously, it started part 2 of the AWE expansion. So, yeah. And then they showed Auto Chest. If you don't know what Auto Chest is, it's a mod from a MOBA that you get to play. It's hard to say. It's like an automatic playing grid game that each round it plays kind of like a card game in the sense that you get to put a character on the field if you have enough money. And then obviously it plays in a chess formation. Like if you put them in certain formations, they might attack better. So you play like in a chess form of like, all right, you want to put all your characters in like the bottom right corner in a 6 block mark. I know it sounds confusing on a podcast what I'm explaining, but look up Auto Chess. It's an old game on PC and it's also on mobile phones. It might be also called Battle Chess or something, but I believe Auto Chess is the Dota mod, because there is a League of Legends mod version of like a Battle Chess, but it comes out this Halloween, and hopefully it's not that much. I didn't mind playing on my mobile phone, but I'm not paying like $30 for a mod. Next up, they showed a quick puzzle game called The Pedestrian, where you're like a men's room or street sign like silhouette man, and you're doing a puzzle game of trying to get from sign to sign. It shows PS4, but also down like looking into it, it's also coming to the PS5 in January. And then there was a Focus Entertainment game called Hood, Outlaws and Legends. And judging by the trailer, because they only showed a snippet of gameplay at the end, it kind of looks like a For Honor, but with just medieval England, like knights and like peasants trying to invade the castle. But we'll see how that goes. It could be obviously way more than I expected, but that's how the trailer looked to me. And then they announced a nail into my Switch's coffin. Temtem is coming to consoles, PS5 and Xbox Series X. It comes out 2021. If you don't know what Temtem is a PC game that is a massively multiplayer online game of like a Pokemon game, but you see everybody in the world around and you're catching Temtems and you're battling and you're trading just like a Pokemon. And I say that because I bought my Switch because I wanted to play Pokemon. I played Sword. It was okay, but at the same time it felt little like for kids. And I know it's a kid game, Pokemon is, but before it felt like they did care about like older fans, but I must have grown out for Pokemon to care about me. And then they ended the state of play with Godfall, come out still launch day, and this had probably the biggest red flags of a lot of games I've watched lately. If you watch the Godfall trailer in their explanation, like, if you do a minute of gameplay, but you show a empty route, a slow version that's empty of that route, and then chunk up the route again into different sections, there must be some red flags. Either you're trying to really hide, or the game is still fucked up. And then if you go with the last idea, because why would you also have to sit down with gamers? People are watching State of Play. You're not doing it for the casual. These are hardcore gamers looking for the State of Play. Then telling us for 3 minutes how the dual blade works. I think I've played enough games to know how a fucking dual blade works. There's going to be no add-ons. Whatever's in the game, that's the game, they said. There's 4 realms, Avatar style: Earth, Wind, Water, Fire realms. 5 weapon classes, like the dual blade's one of them, long blade, all the typical shit. But just there's some red flags in how they describe it and what they showed. They said there's going to be enemies coming out the wazoo, and every spot with enemies in it was either 2 or 3 characters. Like, okay, huh? But then that's how they ended it. I know I gave shit about Godfall, but if I had to give this state of play after the fact that they told us to keep our hopes down, it was a good solid B minus. I liked every game. Godfall, just obviously there's some red flags. It needs some work. It has more red flags for me than I'm trying to keep my nose out of that Marvel's Avengers until the smoke clears. I want everybody back to last year when we were calling Avengers gameplay look like dog shit before I give my opinion and tell you actually they did some good stuff. But yeah. Also this week, QuakeCon's going on. I'm not really into QuakeCon, but they did show a quick snippet trailer for Doom's Eternal's first story DLC, The Ancient God, Part 1. And it's about the imbalance in heaven and what does the Doomslayer involve with the balance of heaven and hell. And there'll be more information coming out August 27th on Gamescom's opening night ceremony with Jeff Keighley. So August 27th, we're going to have some more Gamescom news. And also, August 27th is still in this month, so that PlayStation and Xbox are apparently not confirmed, but there's a 80% chance they're going to do more presentations. That now the next ones will be about date and price for the systems. So Gamescom might be a good spot for them to do something different. So we'll see. Fingers crossed. And then also real quick, like I've said earlier, the DC Fandom, August 22nd. And August 22nd is also, they just announced or confirmed, Rocksteady is going to be at the Fandom showing off their new game, which is confirmed, Suicide Squad, which is a DC comic. Usually the team is Captain Boomerang, Harley Quinn, Deadshot, either Killer Croc or King Shark. Take your pick. But and the mission's simple: kill Superman. And I love the poster. It's just a simple poster, but it's obviously the back of Superman with a target on his head. It looks great. And then but yeah, looking forward to these bigger ceremonies. We're at the top of the month. Let's just keep getting that WAP and just wait for the end of the month to come, right? Well, yeah. That's about it for news. This week's hot picks, I'd like you guys to look into for comics. Reckless, out in December by Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips. Music, I have to give it up to Rick Ross for winning that Versus. So, Pin Me to the Cross, his new single from that Versus, and also not even real Versus. It wasn't even a competition. Ross just has a catalog that just blows 2 Chainz out the water. But also, I'd like you guys to also look into this Netflix show called Dark Desires, and I'm gonna explain it in like this. Hold on. Deseos Oscuro se trata una mujer casada que se llama Alma pasa un fin de semana fuera de casa. Este fin de semana está lleno de pasión y termina en tragedia. Ella comienza a pensar en lo que es verdad entre las personas que conoce. Es prácticamente una telenovela con mucho sexo y tatas. Todos están teniendo sexo. Yeah. Anyway, if you know what I just said, I think it might get you interested to see the show on Netflix. If you're not triggered in that, I would check it out still because it's a pretty good drama. It's all in Spanish, and it's 18 episodes, a pretty good roller coaster. Like, it keeps you hooked in for like those soap opera dramas, but it's pretty good. I'd check it out. And then yeah, that's basically it for this episode of the CuzNCiseal Show. If you could, will you please follow me on Twitter at MikeFowler93 and also at CuzNCiseal. Also, that is also like that on the gram. But, yeah. Thank you guys all for always coming to listen in. I keep on trying to make you proud. Until next time, be good to each other. And, wop, 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 wop. If I was president, I would have Magic City be the next state of the United States of America. Just by their standards in chicken wings and lap dances on top. God bless.